Alrighty, y'all. So, out here getting the morning walk done. We are enjoying the weather this morning. It's like 76, incredibly cloudy. It's supposed to just start pouring rain and thunderstorms for the next like day and a half. So, that'll be cool. We'll see if we actually get it. I mean, it's New England, so we're gonna get it. It's at least gonna rain at the bare minimum. But, so, with that, we did arms yesterday. It was our last deload day. So, that means today is leg day. Now we get to go back to our heavy training program block. And with that is excitement. Today is also day 6 of not having any caffeine yet. So, yesterday we didn't have any headaches. Today we don't have any headaches. So that's nice. So later on today, when we have our pre-workout, it should turn out to be a lot more stimulating than it was beginning to become, because now we've desensitized ourselves a bit from the caffeine. So our tolerance should have decreased a little bit. So that is a plus side. So now we should also get a lot more energy pushed into our sets, which will be great. So, body itself feeling fairly recovered. Nothing feels achy, nothing hurts currently. So we'll see how the body does with squats and how the lower back likes it now that it's gotten to have quite a bit of a rest. So we are excited for that. So now I don't know if I'll be able to work up to the exact same weight we were a week ago before we took the deload period, but we will see. We might be just a little bit shy of that in the next leg day, and so on for the rest of the week. It'll be back to where it was. It just might take a 1 week loading back up for it to be ready to do so, but normally just a week of deload doesn't impact the max, the working weight I should say. It would definitely 100% affect the max weight lifted, but that takes care of that portion of it. So we just finished up our walk. I'm gonna go ahead and go eat something, and get today's video edited, posted. And I got some studying to do, the NASM, and I'll see you guys in the gym in a bit. Alright, so being leg day, we're gonna start off with squats. We've been doing Smith squats to start correcting our form and keeping our back a lot more straight up and down. Just getting used to that movement. So first set here is just 95 pounds. That's adjusted for the fact this is only a 5-pound bar because of the counterbalance. So not 45 pounds. So with that, we're going to go ahead and hit these for 10. Then we'll go ahead and move up going 8, 6, 4, 2. As long as everything feels good, we'll work up to 2 reps at 225. And that's where we're at currently, or was before a little rest day and deload week. But we should be able to go right back up to that. If not, it'll just be 185 today. But we'll see where we get to. So I also have my little catches set up here. Basically where the bottom of my squat depth would be if I was in competition of what would be a good squat. So my hip crease is down below my knee line. So I'm making sure I'm not over squatting and going too deep, which sounds kind of funny, but if you're getting deep enough to where like your hamstrings are resting on your calves, you're taking the load off your quads. The same as if I hit these stops, the load comes off my quads. So, I'm trying to get myself used to the feeling of where the depth is again to make sure I can hit that repeatedly over and over and over. So, for the next couple weeks, we'll leave those right there, and then I'll move them down one, see if we can get a little lower comfortably, and so on. But at least getting to that depth, I know that I'm hitting a full depth squat. So I'll go ahead and get the weight changed over to move on to our next set for 8 reps, and then I'll bring you guys back. And hit this for 8 reps, so that way as the volume decreases, the weight's increasing. And we can verify our form as we go up in weight to see where and if it falls apart so we can work on it. So, those feel pretty good still. I didn't feel my back push out, hip butt wink or any of that, no knee knock. Knees feel nice. So we'll go ahead and we'll make our next step up again, which should be 160 pounds. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring you guys back. Go ahead and hit these. We have to do this for 6 reps. Alright. Whew. Man, oh man. Those feel pretty good. No pains, no stress in the lower back, no pains in the knees. I can definitely feel the quads working. Feel the hamstrings definitely starting to get a little bit of pump as well. So I can definitely tell my left leg has a bit more drive than my right leg. I can feel it. And one of the reasons why I can notice that is my quad, my left leg, feels a lot tighter and more pumped up now, but my right hamstring feels a lot more pumped up. So my hammy on my right leg is making up for my quad. So I'll have to review where my feet are, and if I have any weird diagonal lean or something. But it's the one thing I'm noticing as of right now. Could also just be the way it feels too. So again, we're trying to work on fixing our squat. So part of fixing our squat might be our left quad might actually just be weaker. So, but with that, I'll go ahead and move the weight up to 185. We'll hit that for 4 is what our goal is going to be on that, and see where we go from there. We have to, we're shooting for 4 here is the goal. So let's see if we can go ahead and knock 4 of these out. after our deload period and how it feels. All right. So weight-wise, feels good. Mobility feels kind of funny. More or less inside of the hamstrings feel pretty tight as the weight goes up. Quad activation felt about the same on that. Still maybe a little more on my left. But pretty close to even. I didn't feel any strain in the back. I felt like the back stayed fairly straight, that I wasn't like super bent over, nothing weird like that. I'm not trying to good morning the weight, no weird lean like I'm deadlifting it off my back or something. So, with that, I'll go ahead and bump this up to 225, and then we'll shoot for 2 reps there. Very nice, slow, solid reps. So we're trying to imitate another 2 nice, slow, solid reps. Left knee feels a little more worked than the right knee. I'm going to have to look at form, try to figure out what's going on with that. But this is where we're going to be working up to every single week now for a few weeks at least, until we start getting very comfortable. And then we're going to start moving the catch down a little bit, see if I can get a little bit deeper. But right now I am squatting to depth, so that's the part that matters at the moment. Anything beyond this is just extra range of movement, and it'll create extra growth versus, say, extra strength. So we are more focused on being able to do these and not feel strained or injured or overly sore in, say, our lower back, upper back, or joints when we're done doing squats. That's the overall goal. So even if we're sit at 225 for the next 6 months, doesn't matter. As long as we can correct those issues, then it's progressing forward. Then as this starts to feel easier, we'll go ahead and we'll add 5 pounds here and there. You know, if I can add 5 pounds to this every 2 months, that'll still be 30 pounds a year. So I'll go from 225 to 255 to 285 to 315 over 3 years. I'm okay with that if it takes me that long. It hasn't before, but again, this is the first time I've had to deal with actually trying to make my squat feel good and just not accepting feeling like shit after squatting. So I am trying to protect my body a lot more and care more about technique and getting the most per rep versus, you know, just loading the most weight I possibly can on the bar and like struggling it out, looking like fucking I'm about to have a seizure or a fucking stroke or something. So those are things that we don't want to be doing, because then that's how we get injured. So let's go ahead and see how 225 feels today. And this will be, again, like I said, what we're just going to work up to for the next however many weeks it takes until this feels correct. And we have all of the parts of the body working evenly. I wonder if maybe I'm just stepping up to this thing maybe crooked. Fingers are even. I'll have to look at the camera too and see if I'm setting this bar straight. So that took a lot more effort than what I thought I was going to. I could probably squeak out one more, but it's very, very close to failure. So I'm not going to take the risk. I don't want to injure myself. I did feel quite a bit of load in my left knee, so I am going to have to look at my feet, see what I'm doing with that. Probably record this from now on from a few different angles that aren't going to look very great for the YouTube video, but I'll discuss what I'm looking for inside of these video clips while I work on trying to correct this problem. So, because I do want my squat to improve and be better and at least feel stable. Obviously, I'm taking a lot of the balance and mobility portion out of it because I'm doing it on the Smith bar, but again, I'm not quite worried about that portion of it. I do deadlift, so a lot of those core functions that are required to squat are translated inside your deadlift and back and forth. So I'm not too worried about, having to balance the weight. I'm more focused on the mechanical portion of the movement and my legs moving correctly, my hips moving correctly, my back staying aligned. I will say this felt extremely heavy on the back. So I do think I need to start doing something more core strength related. So probably more than just like cable crunches at the end of each workout. We'll have to start doing like some axe chops, cable crunches, and maybe I'll have to figure out something to start doing back extensions in some sort of way. So, or like a reverse back extension, reverse hyper type of thing. So that way I could go ahead and start really working on the spinal erectors, because I wonder if those are part of the problem. Like, I'm not sure, because I can deadlift a bunch. So I'd assume the spinal erectors are more than adequate to squat 225 if I could deadlift 405 and my back doesn't hurt. So I'm running into some weird form issues that I've got to correct, I think. Or it's just a weird cue that I'm forgetting about or not feeling something correctly. So I'm not too sure. But this section of the video is definitely running quite long, so I'm going to go ahead and definitely rush us through the rest of it. Stop gabbing as much now that we've talked about how we're going to work on correcting our squat and what I have to research on to correct my squat. So hopefully too, maybe I'll run across this problem and the knowledge of how to fix it while I'm going through. I'm sure I'll find the problem and the knowledge to fix it while I'm also studying for my certified personal trainer's certificate. So while I'm doing my NASM courses, I'm sure this is in there. So that's a whole nother topic, but let's go ahead and move on to, I believe, hack squats now. We have hack squats programmed in at 110 pounds. So 2 of these 55s, 1 on each side. We're doing these for 5 sets of 8. That's what we have these set up at. So let's go ahead and see how these feel. My legs definitely kind of already feel a bit jello-y, but ooh, my elbow caught. those are going to be pretty brutal. So, quads definitely feel like they're on fire. I don't think I'm going to get full 5 sets of 8, but we're going to work for it. Those things feel pretty aggressive today, but they're programmed in. So one of the things I definitely am working on, because it's very singular quad focused, this takes all the load out of your back because you're pressed into this. So it doesn't compress the spine as much per se as a typical squat, which is nice. So I got 4 more of these to do. I'm gonna go ahead and get these knocked out, and then I'll bring you guys back. All right, so we finished up our hack squats. The second set, I got to 7. The third set, I got to 5. The fourth and fifth set, I was able to do 4. So the hack squats definitely suffering today, but it is what it is. I don't think I've actually completed all 5 sets at 8 reps on those yet. So it is what it is. Weight could probably go down a little bit, but I'm going to leave it where it is because it's not uncomfortable, but my legs are definitely fatiguing, and not like pump fatigue, like actual muscle fatigue. Like I just cannot press it. So I get to the bottom, I can get halfway up, and I literally just can't finish the rep. So, the pump is definitely not the factor of not being able to finish those. So, but now we're on to leg presses, vertical leg press. We had these at 145, but they felt extremely light, so I'm going to do them at 185. We'll see if we can do our 5 sets of 8 at these. So let's see what we get here. Woo, they feel heavy today. All right, so that's first of 5 reps there. Those feel heavy, but they definitely feel completable. So it wasn't too much of a struggle on these first 8. I'm sure when I get into the 3rd set, 4th and 5th, it's going to be a little bit tougher, but definitely doable. So I'll get these things finished up, and then I'll bring you guys back for the next movement. We're done with vertical leg presses. We feel cooked. So instead of going ahead and moving into hip thrusts, which is just going to be very hamstring, glute, and core dominant, we're just going to go ahead and move on to calf raises. We're going to do them on the 55-pound plate today. It's a little bit taller than the 45s, so we'll get a bit more stretch. Also, the legs themselves, the quads and the hamstrings, just feel toasted. Now, after doing squats, hack squat, which is quad dominant, then the vertical leg press, which is pretty hamstring dominant. So, with getting those finished up, we're going to have to start working on building the stamina up with getting the hack squats done, then the vertical leg press still, and then being able to add in the hip thrusts. Even if we have to add those back in quite a bit lighter than what we were able to work them up to, I think maybe today is just an off day because it's the first day back after being deloaded. but I was kind of struggling with the stamina portion of it before, and it's taken me a very long time to get through all of my sets. So I think either I have too much volume, doing everything at 5 sets, and maybe it needs to go to 3 sets, and then we can get hip thrust back in, or we just got to build that volume back up. Or maybe it needs to go to 5x5 instead of 5x8. But I feel 8 reps for the accessory movements like the hack squat and the vertical leg press is adequate. I prefer to actually like to do them for more reps, but I'm already doing them at what I feel is quite a light weight. But stimulus wise is very high. So we're just going to work on getting that stuff completed, and then as I don't feel so exhausted by the time this comes around, we'll start getting hip thrust back in, start really working on those upper sections of the hammies, and getting those glutes built. But on to calf raises, so we can go ahead and get this finished up, go get our evening cardio done, and go get ready to eat our last meal for the day. Man, 15 of those. Feels aggressive. That extra like ½ inch of movement to where I can't actually bottom my heel out makes the whole big difference when you're under load. So I don't have quite enough ankle flexion to keep the ball of my foot up on this plate and touch the ground at the same time yet. I do have some ankle mobility issues that I do need to work on, and that's part of my squat problems. So as we get going and things move on, that will get better over a few more months. So being as we've been doing calf raises, but we haven't done them at this large of a deficit, and we just recently started squatting again after not squatting for quite a long time. It is going to take some time, get things corrected, get moving right, and just feel the right muscles engaging during the movement. So, but that's all part of it. A little bit every single day adds up to a lot over time. So, just like when I started 90 days ago to where I am now is a massive difference. So, and also I am eating, in a deficit. So I can't expect my strength to go up too much, if at all, which it has been, which has been nice. So that means I'm engaging, more and more muscle fibers. And I am adequately stimulating them to create growth, which is adding to strength. But being as I'm losing fat at the same time, I am in a caloric deficit. So that's probably part of my stamina issues and just my overall energy levels. So it does make sense. Also too, I only took about 3/4 of a scoop of pre-workout since today's the first day taking pre again in 6 days, as well as having any bit of caffeine since I stopped my Red Bull and soda intake. So I've had 0 caffeine because I haven't used any pre-workout for the deload days. So it was definitely a benefit, but definitely still need a full scoop. Makes sense though, because my even though it's 333 milligrams of caffeine, it is more of a nootropic, so it's very focus based and not aimed around adding more compounds into it for more of that stimulus effect, because I take the Bucked Up Banff. Their Woke AF is much more stimmy, and then their Mother Bucker is more caffeine. It's 400 milligrams a scoop and a lot more stimmy feeling, so it adds up very quick when you start getting into the higher caffeine dosages and or the additional compounds to make your caffeine more effective. So I do think I want to like kind of mix some Woke AF with Banff and see how that works to where I get a kind of middle ground of both maybe. So a little extra of that stimmy feeling and a little of the nootropic feeling. I don't know if that really work at a half a scoop of each, but I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens. If not, hey, I'll just go ahead and take a full scoop of one of them every other day, like I'll switch them off. So, say my big days, I'll take the Woke AF, and then like shoulders and arms, I'll go ahead and take Banff. So I'm really just zoned in and focused. But I'm going to go ahead and get my next 4 sets of these done and get on out of here. So with that, make sure you guys are out there, you're getting your own stuff done, you're working towards your goals, and most of all, don't be a lazy fuck.